Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Brittany. Here on YouTube I share tips and strategies for helping you start and grow the handmade business of your dreams. In this video I wanted to talk about sustainability in your business. I feel like so many new handmade business owners are so focused on sales, making more sales, making as many sales as possible, that they don't really take a step back and consider whether or not when they are making those sales, if that is going to be sustainable, if they're going to burn out, if they're going to actually be profitable. Really important questions that tend to hit you once you are making a lot of sales and you're kind of so deep in it that it's hard to restructure, and yeah, there's a lot that goes into that. So I have personally experienced this myself, so I'm speaking from experience from someone who has made this mistake before. And I have a list of questions that I want you to kind of ask yourself to consider whether or not your business is sustainable and has a strong foundation, and what kinds of things you might need to change if you find that maybe it isn't. Like I said, so many new business owners are so focused on making sales, but I want you to think that you are going to make these sales. It's not an if, it's a when. Have the confidence that you will be making as many sales as you're hoping to. That way you can kind of ask yourself the big questions like, when I am making those many sales, will I actually be where I want to be? So if you have like a pen and paper or something that you can write down as I ask these questions, I think that might be helpful. Yeah, this is really important in the beginning of your business, and also later on if you find yourself running into burnouts, or you feel like you're working so much and not making very much money. Ask yourself these questions and don't be too judgmental towards yourself, too critical of yourself, because these are really common mistakes, especially on Etsy. And okay, I'm gonna stop rambling in this intro and just get into the questions, and then you'll better understand what I'm talking about. All right, so the first question to ask yourself, and you've probably asked yourself this question before, but what is your income goal? So if you have pen and paper, write that down. What is your income goal month to month? How much do you want to be pocketing? Not just how much you want to be selling, how much do you want to be taking home with you? All right, now that you've determined that, and that should be just a number that makes you feel comfortable and happy, and like you can do the things that you want to do and save some money and all of that. So it can be high, that's fine. It can be lower, that's also totally fine. Whatever just feels right to you. And then ask yourself, how much product do you need to be making each month in order to hit that income goal? So knowing the price of your products, how much of those products do you need to make in order to hit that income goal, factoring in your expenses. So make sure you've diligently calculated your expenses, all of the materials and ingredients that you use, and also the packaging and the business cards and all of that. Everything that's an expense, make sure you have it calculated and subtract that from your revenue, and then calculate how many products you need to be making each month in order to hit your income goal. This seems pretty like obvious, but I think new business owners a lot of times don't really sit down and calculate all of this and consider all of this. The next question to ask yourself, and this one is really important, especially for handmade business owners, is how much time will it take to make that many products? And as a handmade business owner, this is where you're going to kind of face reality a little bit, because a lot of our handmade products we put a lot of time and care into, because they're a lot of times works of art and we're hand making them. I mean, that takes a lot of time generally, so make sure you've calculated how much time it takes you to make each product, and then multiply that by how many products you need to make per month in order to hit your income goals. Make sure you have that information so you know how much you actually need to be working. And so after you've calculated how much time it will take to make each product, calculate how much time it takes to package your products, to go to the post office, to do your marketing, like all of your business activities, how much time does that take? And add that all up so that you know how much you'll need to be working each week. So then the kind of questions you need to ask yourself from there are, do you have that time in your life? If you're working a full-time job and you will need to quit that full-time job in order to work these hours in order to make your income goals, at what point can you safely quit your job? That's something you should kind of have in your mind. Maybe set like a goal, like when I hit this many sales, when I'm making this much money, then I can quit my job. Make sure you know that information so that you know you're not at the point where you have to work more hours than you have in your life, but you can't afford to quit your job. That's kind of a situation you could run into there, so just make sure you're taking the time to figure out what all of that is. Okay, so then once you've figured out how much time it's going to take to make your products, maybe it's more time than you possibly have in your life, you can ask yourself, is somebody else able to make your products? Can you train someone to make your products, or is it a very personal thing to you? Like if you're selling artwork, like paintings or photography or something like that, then you can't really hire someone else to do that for you. So you have to be really realistic with what your goals are, your income goals. Maybe this has to be a side hobby, or maybe you have to raise your prices. You're gonna have to figure something out because that's gonna hit you later on in your business. If you can hire somebody else to make your products, then that's great. You should calculate at what point are you going to hit that maximum hour threshold that you have available to you in your life, and at that point, are you going to be making enough money to hire somebody else, to hire help? Because that's really important. If you're at the phase where you need to hire help in order to keep up, then you're going to want to be able to afford to do that. So again, maybe you'll need to raise your prices in order for that to be doable, or you're just gonna have to do some restructuring of your business in order for that to be doable. The last question I have for you is, do you anticipate burnout? So say you've calculated how much time you're gonna have to work each week and it's like 60 hours per week. That's likely going to burn you out. So we have to be really careful about burnout as entrepreneurs. Speaking from experience, once again, you can't just work constantly and go full force and sustain that for a long period of time. At least I can't, and I think a lot of people can't. If your hours are over 40, really, or whatever you feel like is doable for you in your life, you're just gonna have to do some restructuring, and it's better to do it now, early on, than to do it once you've experienced the burnout. Because what happens with burnout is you want to just completely give up, and it's really hard to get back into it. You need to rest and recover and take time off of your business, and that can do some harm with your momentum and with your progress as a business owner. So it's better to anticipate burnout early on, catch it early on, do some restructuring of your business and your life. That way it doesn't hit you hard and you don't have to take a long break from business. So if you had good answers to that, if your work hours are doable and you're going to be able to hit your income goals, that's feasible for you in your life, and it's going to feel good, you're not going to burn out and all of that, then that is great. You likely have a strong foundation. You have the potential for a really strong, sustainable business. That's awesome. If not, like I said, you might want to do some restructuring. And if you want me to talk a little bit more about like possibilities there, I can. Just let me know. Yeah, like I said, been there before, so I've learned a few things. Still learning myself in my own business, but I'm happy to talk more about that. Or you might want to consider selling a more profitable product. If you're selling $5 products and you do all of these calculations, those $5 products take you a really long time to make, you might find that this business plan is not very sustainable, and it's not going to give you the kind of results in your life, in your lifestyle, that you're hoping for. And so you might want to consider, honestly, even a new product. And again, that's better to do early on before you've like built up this whole business for yourself. You could probably think of a product within your realm of genius, within your craft, that is higher ticket but still enjoyable for you, still your expertise, and still something that people want. Go back into your market research on that new product, all of that, but that might be something, that might be a change that you need to make early on. I also just wanted to mention outsourcing. So if you find that you're going to need to be working more hours than is possible for you, you might not be able to outsource your production, but you could outsource your packaging, like order fulfillment. You could outsource your marketing and social media. You could outsource, accounting and doing all of the numbers. And there's different parts of your business that you can outsource, so you can focus solely on making the products if that is something that you want to be doing all of the time. So to wrap this up, I think a lot of new business owners see sales as equivalent to making more money, and that's not always the case. Or if more sales do mean more money, you might be burning yourself out in the process, working more hours than you want to be in your life. And so these are really, really important questions to be asking yourself. And I want to make sure that you all are working smarter, not harder. You've heard it a million times, but I think as new business owners, we can work really, really hard and then later realize maybe we weren't working very smart. So the earlier you can make these adjustments in your business and make sure you've figured all of this out, the better. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Once again, I mentioned this in my previous video, but I'm starting a monthly Zoom support group for handmade business owners where we chat all about what's going on in our businesses, and I will have a form for you to complete in the description of this video if you're interested in being a part of that. I would love to have you in there, and that is all. See you next time. Bye.